Cobham, and for people who don't know me, that's who I am. I play drums, and for a living, I'm a recording artist, educator, and what else? Just all around, just lover of life. That's all.
Comment il a su qu'il avait un don, le don du rythme?
How did you know that you had like a gift for, that you knew rhythm?
Oh, okay. Now we're getting interesting. Okay. I started to get interested in performing rhythmic, playing drums when I was about 3 years old. Okay. And so you guys are recording this, so it's okay. I can continue, right? I don't
Yes.
know. Right. So when I was a young person in Cologne, or actually in, yeah, that would be good, in Panama, where I was born, my family was associated and involved in music, making steel pan and making drums as part of the living to bring in some income for the family. And so it was natural for me to do that. And that's where I began. And what was the next question? I forgot.
How did you
Was there
know
another?
that you had a gift for rhythm, that you
Oh,
had that?
it just was very natural. It was part of my upbringing. Music was around me all my life, every day, every day. And to this day, that's the way my life is. And so, if it's a gift, yeah, I guess so. But I think if it's a gift, then everybody in the world has this gift, and it's just like everybody else. Love music, listen. The rhythmic side I gravitated to more than the melodic or harmonic side at the beginning, and that's where I am now. More of a composer than I ever dreamed I would be, and creator of productions, and that's my, it's beyond my love. It's what I do to keep alive. I play music. Yeah.
Could you talk about your first group, Spectrum, and how did you create this group, and what was your inspiration?
The first professional big group, serious professional group I had, I guess you could, yeah, it would be called Spectrum. Why not? I needed, again, it was a need to earn income. I was in a band called Mahavishnu Orchestra, and that band was disbanded, was broken up, and I needed to find a way to earn a living. So I decided to make a recording, which was entitled Spectrum, with the idea that I would work locally if I had a band in New York City, and then at the same time, to help support myself, I was also much more active in the recording studios around New York. And so that's a record that I made with the sampling. It's like I made a record to show what my music would sound like to local promoters and all, to hand it out. Like today, CDs are no longer anything more than that, a sample of who the artist is. But back then, in 1973, there were LPs. And so I thought maybe I'd make, get through a record company like Atlantic, which is Warner Brothers, opportunity to record. It's not going to do so much because it's instrumental music. And but at that time, I mean, you needed singers in a band, I thought. Never did I believe or understand that my first record would be platinum record or anything like that over time. And that's where I am today. It wasn't just something I could tend to my folks and say, "Hey, I made a record." Hey, haha. No, it was much more than that, and it's continued that way since.
Qu'est-ce qu'il a pensé du fait de travailler avec Miles Davis?
if you could describe your work with Miles Davis in a few words, what would you feel and say?
In a few words. It was the equivalent of going to school at the highest level of study, working with Miles Davis. It's like beyond getting a doctor's certificate. It was working above that as a specialist, learning how to work in with Miles. He did not give direction by speaking; it was by actions, and there were many things to learn by what he did. So I felt more like an apprentice. It's a good word to becoming fully comfortable in the art form that I am playing now.
And could you talk about your work with John McLaughlin? Also,
John McLaughlin was it invited me to participate in a group that he was first to help him create musical portfolio is a good word. Music that he was composing to eventually play with a group that I ended up in, the original Mahavishnu Orchestra. And so it was, of course, a great honor to take part in that and to uh, uh, play the music, but not just to play it because of him. He opened a door to an area that I was not very familiar with, and that was playing in uh, time signatures that in music that I was not attracted to at first, and I found, and so being able to understand to play his music, I got involved in this area, and I became very comfortable with it, and in performing in this area his material, and that helped me quite a bit in the future in my career as I continued on. I've always used those lessons that I've learned from practicing and performing in real time on stage with him and Jerry Goodman and the late Rick Laird and of course Jan Hammer to be the musician that I am today.
the last name, what did you learn from, how was it, and what did you learn by working with Quincy Jones?
Oh, actually, I accomplished a kind of dream to work with Q because he's always been, again, in another way, a mentor of mine as in terms of orchestrations. Uh, kind of a goal that I reached for, but I would never get to in the same way. But he was a good way to see how to create for large ensembles and to produce artists that I continue to try to refine and make better for myself as a producer. So again, he was another one of my mentors. He is another one of my mentors to this day, and I'm very happy to be able to mention him amongst the people who have indirectly, from their actions, given me lots of lessons to work with and from.
À travers toutes ces rencontres, avec toutes les personnes avec qui il a travaillé, même les gens qu'il a rencontrés, qu'est-ce qu'il a appris sur l'être humain?
So he said it's a bit a philosophical question, but with all the people you met, what would you say you learned about human people?
That we generally have the same likes and dislikes. I shouldn't say that, but those are the wrong words. We do certain things that are very positive in life. the arts tend to show this. There are people who are not specializing in music or in the arts, who are people who can still, without them. I want to make it simple for you, so that you can interpret it. Explain to him. Artists like myself need an audience. People on the street generally are going to be my audience, but they in themselves basically know what is good and what is not for them, individually and then collectively. Uh, some things, some people are going to go in one direction or the other. We're all like this, and we have a good side depending on our emotions and what we've come through as individuals in our own small circle of social circle. Uh, this is what everybody is and everybody does. It depends on how we live our life from day to day. Fundamentally, that's what it is. And I am not in any position to advise what is good from what is not, because we're all individuals. We have to learn on our own what is good and what is not.
Do you have a message to people who want to accomplish a dream?
Yes, it's very, let's see. Be about 6 words. Have patience. This will take a while.
Qu'est-ce qui il a dit, je crois, au tout début, mais qu'est-ce qui le pousse tous les jours à jouer, quoi? D'où vient cette énergie, en fait? Qu'est-ce qui le motive?
What is your motivation and what leads you to play every day?
My motivation is to live my life that I love to do. Music is mostly 90% of that, along with managing my social environment in a positive way, and maintaining a sense of control over what happens in my life. You know, I don't want to be considered, or I should say, I don't want to present myself as anyone more than my fellow man. I'm just me. You know, so I happen to play music because that's what I do, and that's all I want to maintain. If I can do that, I'm very happy. No problem.
Il est venu jouer en France plusieurs fois. Qu'est-ce qu'il pense de la France et des Français?
As you came in France multiple times, what do you think about France and French people?
Volatile.
Sorry?
Volatile.
Volatile.
You never know. Volcano. You never know. You know.
Comme la météo.
I mean, it's not predictable. You know, there's always agreements and disagreements to agree to disagree, and it's great to read the history of France after. I mean, it's been over 1,000 years in one city alone. You know, Paris, and it could be a country by itself. There's so many people who come and go from Paris. So it keeps me thinking and learning, and so much to remember. And again, these things as an observer of the country, or the observer of the city, inspires me to write and compose in a specific way. That's what compositions are all about. They're based on the history of the composer, what you've experienced every day.
Est-ce qu'il a, il a un projet qu'il aimerait mettre en place au Panama, par exemple, quelque chose qui le tient à cœur?
Is there a project that you would like to do in Panama, for example?
Yes, I'm preparing to make a presentation in Panama for to promote the history of art over the past 500 years in Central America, from Guatemala through to Panama, especially in the areas of the creation of musical instruments, drums primarily, the use of the woods from the canopy of Panama, the rosewood, and of course, imbuya wood and cocobolo, these kinds of woods that make not just drums, but also are used in guitar and other stringed instruments, to present an understanding of what the Central American region offers, not to mention the involvement of the indigenous societies in India from the region, and how they work with and cultivate the plants that are there. Where I live, it has helped me to stay very healthy, to understand what I eat and why I eat what I eat, mango, guava, all these kind of things, the different kinds of things that grow there, and the soil. It helps, again, I follow through on my knowledge, and it translates to the notes that I put on the music for people to play. One other point, so it related to that. So that means that where I want to go is to make an exposition, a small convention, conference on the arts in the region, in the Central American region, to be held in Panama, maybe in 2023. It's just a lot of people, I guess, on Zoom. I mean, it's very, very, the bandwidth is full. So sometimes you get frozen, or I get frozen from your side.
Would you say your roots or your culture from Panama brings you in your life or your work?
Support of my ideas and my direction. So that's what I'm drawing from, my experiences. That's my, and so therefore I write from those things that I have experienced in recently, and back in time in my life. Yeah. Okay. That's what it does. And Panama is part of that.
Est-ce qu'il a un mot de la fin qu'il voudrait dire?
Okay. So do you want to say a last word? If you want to, you can say a last word.
En cette période.
Otherwise, it's.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. You think you are comfortable with what you have, so it's all right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Voilà.
Ville. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Bye.